Hey guys, my name is Jordan Holt. I play guitar for Kari Jobe. We're currently out on the Garden Tour, and we're here in Portland, Oregon. And I figured I'd run you guys through a little bit of the pedals, the pedal board, guitars, and amps of what I'm using on this tour. So to start things off, let's talk a little bit about the pedal board. I'll walk you through the signal chain. So first off, we have the diamond compressor. I'm running the compression really low. It's kind of like a 3-to-1 compression ratio, I believe. So it's real soft, slow attack. So I don't really use it a lot for compression. It's more for tone shaping when I'm switching guitars. Usually what I'm going for when switching guitars is keeping the gain and level consistent and then EQing things brighter or darker depending on the guitar. When I switch to my Gibson, I'll brighten it up a little bit, back to the Strat, set at noon. So I'm constantly toying with this throughout the set. From there, I'm going into a Dynacomp. I've tried a lot of compressors over the years and I've switched back and forth, and I got this thing for maybe $30. It's just a basic Dynacomp. And I love it. It just works for me. And I use that more for a lot of clean tone. Sometimes I'll use it as a little bit of a boost or just kind of a more funky vibe. It's definitely a more compressed tone, really fat. Also use it in conjunction with overdrives. So if I want more sustain, a lot of times rather than stacking overdrives, I'll just kick that on for a big lead and hit it with the OD820, which is kind of my main tube screamer type tone. I use this mainly with bridge pickups for more of a lead tone, and then I use the Timmy more for like a neck pickup sound where I roll off the bass to keep it from getting muddy. I find that tube screamer types kind of get a little bit muddy for me with the way I play on neck pickup stuff. So from there, we're going into modulation, and looks like they just cut the power on stage, but we'll keep walking through. We have the Julia, awesome pedal. I've been using this for the past year. What I'm using this for, and you're probably wondering why I have 3 chorus pedals, they all have different purpose for me in the way I play. But I'm using this for more of a faster rate, kind of weirder sound. I really love it, almost more like a vibrato. The C2, it's a vintage 80s C2, I love it. This has been on my board forever. But I use this for more of like a classic chorus setting. It's a little bit of a slower rate than what the Julia or the Red Witch can do. But that's for my main chorus setting that I use for more like the 80s sounds. For the Empress, I like using this in stereo, but on this tour I'm not using it in stereo, I'm using it in mono. I'm only using it on one song. I'm using it full vibrato, mix all the way up, and I'll run the rate up pretty high. So it's kind of a wacky sound, but it's a really awesome effect. In stereo it sounds huge. Walrus Luminary, I'm mainly using this on the song Forever. I like to use an octave down on high leads. I think it just fattens things up and makes it sound a little bit bigger. It also has this great kind of auto-wah kind of sound that I'll use sometimes for more funk stuff, but I haven't been using that on this tour. So I kind of took off my volume pedal a while ago because I've just had so many problems with volume pedals over the years. And I've got Dan at This One Mine to make me a nice little volume box where I can hit it, quickly jump in volume. I use this for a lot at church and just quickly going down during like ministry time or whatnot. Not really using it on this tour, but that's kind of what I'm using this for. It's after my drive, so I can still keep the drive going but lower the volume if I want to. Turbo tuner, most accurate tuner that I've ever played. Super small, easy to read. I can tune super fast with it. Check it out, amazing tuner. Oh, and I also skipped over the Rat. I use this more for palm muting type overdriven kind of distortion because it's just really fat. I've had this since I was maybe 15, and I just recently put it back on my board. I had it modded by Keeley 8 years ago maybe, but it just never fails. I never want to get rid of that pedal. Timeline, can't live without. I mainly just use the 1/8 note delay, mainly everything at noon or a little bit less, digital setting, and just change everything for the BPM of the song. This is one of my favorite additions, just mainly because the stage gets really dark when you play sets like we do in a lot of production, the lights are going. So in order to see the set list, this really helps, and also seeing your quarter-inch cable when you're plugging in guitars. So that's really the main reason why I bought this thing. It's been fantastic, runs off your pedal power supply. Last in the chain is the reverb. I love this pedal so much. Empress did an amazing job with it, so many creative sounds. I have so many different sounds I'm using on this tour through this thing. I wish it was lit up. I can kind of show you a little bit of it, but you guys just need to check it out. There's awesome demos. And I'm controlling the timeline in Empress with this DMC8 by Disaster Area. I have 4 presets per song, and then I can bank up or down in the songs, and it has the names labeled right there. It's been fantastic. It's really small too. It fits perfectly on this pedal train board. And I can just quickly change time presets. Then out of the reverb, I'm running stereo into what you can see here is a TA Solutions TA Link. You guys have to check this out. It's an amazing new product on the market. This is pretty much a stereo SGI type box. So what this allows me to do is run my chain over XLR cables up to 300 feet. It runs off my pedal power supply. So you're not using bulky wall warts and you're not using two SGI boxes. It's made setup so fast for us on the road and allows me to run my amps much farther off. Check it out, TA Solutions TA Link.
And what size is your pedal board?
So this is a Pedal Train 3 pedal board. I've had this for maybe 6 years. A lot of my friends in the industry have been using the same size. It just kind of never fails. Love it. It's perfect size for me. So let's check out the guitars. So right now, I've been traveling with 4 guitars. First off is kind of my go-to, which is Fender's new American Pro model Strat. They just came out with this line this year, and Fender was nice enough to send this over to me, and I've been loving it. Haven't changed out the pickups because it sounds amazing. Just pretty much just set it up, and it's been ready to rock. Super smooth, not too bright. Love every single pickup position. This is an all-around just warrior. Love it. Neck feels amazing. Next up is my Gibson ES355. It's not a 335. Has some subtle kind of cosmetic differences, but it's a vintage old spec model. It's got aged relic gold hardware. It's either like a 2003 or 2005. I actually don't really know. But it's a custom shop, vintage old spec 355. Probably one of the best playing 335 style guitars I've ever played. I will probably never get rid of this thing. Love the Bigsby. It's been amazing.
Is this staying tuned?
Definitely the 335s have a little bit more issues with staying in tune, but it hasn't been that much of a problem for me to ever want to get rid of it. It's been fantastic. It just sounds amazing. I think the Ebony fretboard, or however you pronounce that, has a little bit of a brighter tone compared to other 335s. So that's been fantastic for me. But I'll definitely brighten that up with the diamond compressor a little bit when I switch guitars. Next up is another new addition. So this is an American Special Edition Jazzmaster with Bigsby. I think they only made this in 2016, and they only sold it for like the month of October or something. It's like one of 200 or 250. It's pretty much like a Fano James 6 style guitar. I swapped out the pickups for some Lawlers, and it's really smoothed out a lot of the high end and made the tack really nice. But it's kind of like an American standard style shaped neck. It's been great. I use this on lots of songs throughout the set. And then a really unique guitar is actually more like a bass guitar. It's actually called a Bass 6, and yes, it's a Squier. I modded the bridge a little bit, and ever since I did that, the intonation has been great. Swapped out the pickguard, and it's just been kind of like this really unique sounding guitar. It's tuned E to E, so it's not a baritone. It's actually an octave lower than a guitar. And so I'll capo up higher for this, and with the thicker strings, it just gives it a little bit of a fatter, kind of more, I don't know, for lack of a better word, gnarly kind of sound. So I'll actually use this with a lot of chorus and some more reverb, and you get like this really just cool sounding instrument. It doesn't really fully sound like a guitar a lot of times. I'll strangle the low end off of it. There's a little switch for that. It's Jaguar pickups, and use the bridge pickup for pretty much everything. And you just kind of get like this bright but dark at the same time kind of tone. It's awesome. Next up, we're going to be going over to the amps. All right, guys, so let's check out the amps I'm using. So I have my Matchless Clubman here. I've had this for years. No problems at all. It's just been amazing. Forever, never wanted to get rid of it. It's kind of a cross between a Vox and a Marshall style amp, I believe. It's got EL34s. So it's a really unique sounding amp with a really unique circuit. But it's just been fantastic. Love Matchless, never fails. And then I just recently picked up this other kind of rare amp. It's a 112 Jazz Chorus. They made this in the 80s. So it's essentially half wattage, 60 watts from the typical 120 jazz chorus. And it's 112, super lightweight. All those great 80s tones. At first I thought with the solid state and no tubes it might respond a little bit differently, but so far it's been fantastic and works really well with the matchless. And as you can see here, I also have the TA link boxes. Just plug the XLR lines, run from my pedal board into here. Simple 1/4 inch cable into it. I also have that mounted in the back of my matchless. I'll eventually probably mount this back there.
So there's no power on this end.
No power on this end. You just pretty much plug the XLR line in and you're ready to roll. You got your signal running to it.
What does that little switch do?
So this is essentially just a ground switch. So if you got ground hums, it makes it super simple. Just eliminate that hum that you have there. Also love these Z-bars. A lot of times the mics will get kicked around when you're on tour with a lot of people running around. I've had that happen many times, so I like to keep things stable with the Z-bars, so that's really helped a lot. But that kind of sums it up. I run up both amps really kind of clean. I find that the delays and reverbs can get really muddy for my style of playing, so there's not a lot of grit. You can see that the volume is actually pretty low on a lot of these amps, but it's the way I like to run it, and they've been awesome so far. That sums it all up. Hope you guys enjoy. Come check us out on the Garden Tour. We'll be touring this spring, finishing it out. We got a couple more weeks, and then we have a fall tour coming up as well. See you guys.